We'll get into that. There might be a little bit more to the story. Very interested in your take here on the show. And then we'll move on to Ryan Tannehill. Jesse Bates had some comments, the secondary guy in the secondary for the Bengals. So he had some words to say on Ryan Tannehill. I wanted to read those words to you and let you guys decide. So I'm not sure if you heard this or not. But again, Ryan Tannehill getting no respect. So nothing's going to change. And I'm going to make a point, trust me, but you got to stay with me for that. Then moving on, we are going to talk about, obviously, the game, the matchup, the stats. There's some really good things to look at. And I believe the Tennessee Titans going into this were going to be in, who knows, maybe a dogfight of some sort. But with the injury report and all this kind of stuff coming out, man, if the Titans don't win this game, this is going to be one game that, I think will define us. I feel like we've taken the step. I think you guys here also feel like we've taken that step. It's time to go out there and prove it, and the Titans have done this season. We beat Jacksonville. We've beat Denver. Those were games we should have won. Denver had all sorts of injuries in week 1. Titans go in and get it done, even though they missed like 4 kicks. Then the Jaguars came back. We beat the Texans late, beat the Vikings late, destroyed the Bills. Couldn't pull it out last week. We were so close against the Steelers. Steelers are a good football team. Not going to take anything away from them, but that definitely was a game where we didn't show up right away. But I think that going down the line, and Zach brings up a great point with the offensive line. Go ahead and put that on the screen real quick, because that is going to lead us right into the injury report and breaking this stuff down. So let's get right into it. Injury report. Boom, here we go. Again, a lot has come up over the last couple weeks, I feel like, with the Titans. We've had situations where Christian Fulton now will be out for a couple of weeks. Dory Jackson came back from IR, designated to return, which he's still not counting towards the 53. He's still not been activated. And I think a lot of us thought he was coming back last week. And it doesn't look like he's coming back this week either. He actually didn't even practice today, which we'll get into that, if how concerned you are or are you not concerned. I'm pretty concerned. I mean, I'll get into that later, I guess. But we've been pretty fortunate. I don't never want to, with any injuries. The Bills had some key injuries when we played them. This week's no different. As Zach already mentioned, offensive line issues, right tackle, left tackle, center out. The Titans, for whatever reason, we just can't get to the passer. And maybe it's because some of you have said, they get the ball out quick. Some of you said, we don't stand a chance. I personally like the multiple schemes to send guys from all over the place like Dean Pease did. We don't really do a whole lot of that. Maybe it's just because we can't defend in the back end because we're so hurt right now. Butler is our number 1 corner, but he's not fast. And then our counter corner would be Joseph, which is 37, 38 years old, and he's not fast. We don't have Christian Fulton now. Ty Smith is questionable. I mean, the Titans are really banged up in the secondary. They're actually asking Hooker to play a little bit more than maybe he's comfortable with playing. I don't know, like in different spots. So luckily for us, he's been okay. Chris Jackson is a guy I'm not really sure on yet. It'll be something we'll definitely dive into. So let's get right into the injury report, and let's break this stuff down. So here we go. Boom, injury report. Cruikshan, he's out. Groin injury. Not sure when he'll come back. That's just disappointing. He's only played in 1 game this year. Then we're looking at Christian Fulton. Christian Fulton might be out 2 weeks, possibly. He's stayed off the IR, so maybe he comes back for the Thursday night game. I mean, he's missing so much practice during the preseason, the training camp, and now he's out again. So this is very concerning. And then Ty Smith. I know a lot of you don't really like Ty Smith, but he's definitely a person who is questionable. So I don't know if he'll play. That's definitely going to hurt the secondary. Dory Jackson most likely out again. We'll get into that. But this is breaking news with the Bengals, right? Left tackle, right tackle, center all out. Backup center that they traded for, he can't play. So the offensive line is in disarray for the Bengals. This is a problem to keep Joe Burrow up. Expect quick passes. And then they don't even have a running back this week. Bernard's going to be the running back. He's only like 25 carries for 81 yards this season. And I'm not sure if Phillips will play. John Ross doesn't want to play. Let's just be honest. He's kind of doubtful with the illness. Not sure what's going on with him, but he wants out of Cincinnati. Geno Atkins wants out. Carlos Dunlap was already traded out this week. I'm telling you, they're a lot. The Bengals are going in a good direction. They're going with youth. They're pushing forward, so to speak. But a lot of those veteran guys want out. So I think this is the perfect time for the Titans to go in there and take care of business. So, again, that's the injury report brought to you by nobody. But I'll tell you what, next week, I don't know if you guys heard or not, DraftKings will be sponsoring Titan Upload. So how about that, huh? How about that? So I owe you guys a bunch of thanks for all you've done for me personally, the support. Wouldn't be here without you guys, but yeah, that's pretty cool. So moving on to the preview, which let's go, right? I'm pumped. Let's get into some of your comments here as we transition into the preview. Go all the way to the top. So we got a guy from the Washington football team that's not very happy. We got Manny Z, Juice Wild in the house. Titans NM says, yeah, you haven't been watching the Bengals. Their offense is good. Their defense can be like ours. And that's kind of the issue. We'll break down the numbers here in a minute. Hopefully things will work out for us this week. You know, I don't like to keep pushing stuff, but Flick Chat, I just wanted to throw that up there. Every time I bring it up, I never have the link. So if you scroll up or see it in the comments, it's in there. It's usually always in some of the caption of the videos that I post. So I did want to throw that out there. Love to have you. We're almost to 50 people in there, and it's nonstop talking Titans, so it's a lot of fun. Miss Bible in the house, ready to watch our guys kick some butt on Sunday. I am too. I'm super pumped, like I said about a million times already, trying to move on from last week. Last week was a tough week, you know. I mean, it was tough. And for the Titans to overcome this, the 4-game stretch is very important. So play Cincinnati. Chicago will be tough. Their defense is good. Their offense maybe not so much, but their defense. So that's a good counter to us. And then you move on to the hectic schedule, right? Indianapolis Thursday night. Then you move on to Baltimore, and then you're at Indy. So that's a tough stretch, and I think Cleveland is on the other end of that at home. So the Titans are really going to see what they're made of this coming month, I should say. November is going to be a tough month for the Titans. No, anybody can beat anybody at any time. So that's probably what I'm kind of getting at here. Let's just focus on this week. We know we got a tough next 4 stretch. Then we'll worry about that next week. So let's keep going. Let's see. Adori's out still. Yes, we'll get to that. I promise you next. Juice World says easy win for the Titans. We hope, right? We hope. Aiden Clark. See, it's going to be Clowney's breakout game. It should. He should get a couple sacks in this game. King Nat, tighten up to you. We're not going to tighten down, Mr. Redskins. You got to change your name, man. It's not the Redskins anymore. It's a football. It should be hail to the football team. Let's see. Titans MM says the kicker going to cost us more. Mark, oh, I hope not, man. I hope not. And this is, I'm going to get to this King Nap because I got some kind of take. I don't know if it's going to make sense or not. It made sense when I was thinking about it, but it has something to do with the trade deadline. It has something to do with Fool's Gold. So I'll definitely get to that as well. Mr. Clips in the house, tighten up to you. Shine Crawford says Titans 42-14. Kitchenbound in the house. How cool. Congrats. Let's see. Jacob says week 12. Rest first string and let second string play. Again, pack up for the Browns. Scored 30-20 Titans. Manny Z, thank you so much, man. Appreciate it. Congrats. And Two-Tone Zone. What's going on? Love your show. Keep it up. Thank you so much. Thank you guys for being here. So let's keep this thing going. I'll kind of go to the bottom. So here we go. Let's move on to the preview. So this is what I got preview-wise. This is going to be a game where I think the Tennessee Titans, you would think you should be able to run the ball against the Bengals. And I might as well just get straight to the facts. So let's look at the defense because I think defense is the bigger issue here. when we're looking at this game. So when you look at the Bengals, don't be fooled. I was fooled. I will be honest with you. I was fooled. For the Cincinnati Bengals, 4.9 rush per attempt. It's the same with us, tied 26th. Again, when you look at it with rush defense, the Bengals stat-wise, come in, again, 4.9 yards per rush. But when you look at them as a team, when you break them down defensively, yes, they come in with the 24th ranked defense, but against the rush, they're 28th. So you're thinking, oh, well, the Titans their best thing of their team is the rush offense. Although Tannehill is kind of changing that a little bit. Derrick Henry should run all over these guys. This is Derrick Henry's moment. With the offensive line, Bengals in disarray. The players even want to play. The young guys do. But where did I go wrong here? Well, here we go. So if you're looking at the Bengals, their last couple games, I'll give you some stats here. So they played the Ravens. They gave up 161 yards rushing. They played the Eagles. They gave up around 175 yards rushing. They played the Browns earlier in the year. They gave up 215 yards rushing. That's a lot of rushing yards. They played the Browns week 2, the first time when they gave up all the rushing yards. They played the Ravens week 5, and they played the Eagles week 3. Okay? So let's kind of focus on games recently. Now, week 4, played the Jaguars, only gave up 89 rushing yards. In week 6 versus the Colts. Okay, Colts will argue they have a great rushing offense with Taylor. The Colts, 59 rushing yards. But remember, the Colts were down 21-0, so we can kind of push that to the side. Well, then we got the rematch versus the Browns. Okay, Chubb's out, but the Browns were still, they were still gloating about their rush offense. They were number 1 in the league versus Pittsburgh. They were number 1 in the league going into last week as well. 22 carries for 82 yards. So the Bengals, believe it or not, they're doing pretty well against the rush lately. So that's interesting. Again, the Browns, 22 carries, 82 yards. That's a high scoring, right? Now, Mayfield had 5 touchdowns. But Colts 15 carries for 59 yards. We already mentioned that, they were down 21-0. Now I have some numbers off to the side. Percentage, 61%, 48%. I bet you can guess what that is. That is third down completion against our defense, where offenses are basically getting 61% of them. Now, against the Bengals, they're giving up 48%. So the Bengals are doing a better job on the third down, but we got to do better. Let's just be honest. That's a stat we got to improve on. But the one stat that keeps coming up, it came up on Truth's 4-year anniversary show. Weekly brought it up, and it's going to come up a lot for us. And that is turnover margin. The Tennessee Titans ranked number 1, +9 this season. It's unbelievable. +9 in that category. I can't explain it. But here's the thing. Can you get turnovers like this all season? That's the question I pose to you guys. Can we keep this up? And if we can't keep it up, our defense is already bad enough. We're already ranking lower to the low to the low to the low. How big of a difference is this going to make it? So I'm concerned. The secondary is a concern. You guys asked, are we going to make a trade? Well, here it is. I'm going to be honest with you. I think we're going to fall in a trap. This is a trap. And it's not a trap game. It's just a trap. Here's the trap. We're going to face some fool's gold this week. We're playing an offensive line they're out their left tackle, their right tackle, their center. Backup situation. They had to go out and get Quentin Spain. But he plays guard, so you're not going to put him at tackle. The issue for us, we might get 4 or 5 sacks this week. It's not out of the ordinary we could get 4 or 5 sacks against this defensive line or offensive line. And if we can't, sure, that's going to be a major concern. But let's just say, for sake of argument, the Titans defense gets like 4 sacks this week. Does John Robinson look at the defense and be like, it's fixed? Do we look at the defense like, oh my gosh, here we go? That's the only issue. Like, I'll take the sacks. I just don't want us to gloat. Again, it's the second time I said that because of the fact that we're playing an awful offensive line. Okay, now they can help tight ends, the backs. I mean, even their main back. Like, Bernard's not a great pass blocker in the backfield there. So the Titans should get after him. I get it. Burrow's going to adjust. He's going to get the ball out quick. They're going to do a lot of runs, screens, probably sweeps. They might do some kind of where they move people around, some jet sweeps, those kind of things. I'm sure that's coming. But again, it's something to keep note on. Do we overreact for the fact that the Tennessee Titans look good on defense this week, and then we don't make any trades? So do we think that, hey, everything's okay? I don't know if we make trades anyways. I don't know how. I'd be very interested to see before we go to the next segment what you guys feel about that. Because me personally, I think we should make a trade, but you've heard from multiple people. Let's just look at the Titan YouTubers, right? Mr. Titan brought this up. So he has a show, and, he does post-game. Gerald McGrath and stuff like that, who played for the Titans at one point early on in 2009 roughly, linebacker. He made a great point. Mr. Titan said, he told them, you don't need to go out and get secondary guys because it's going to take them a few weeks to adjust anyways. I guess my only argument to that is, well, the guys that we do have, they're not allowed to adjust anyways because they can't get on the field, right? So Christian Fulton can't stay on the field. Joseph, he wasn't brought in to be a second corner. He was brought in to be 4 or 5. We're in disarray as it is. So you bring in some speed guys. I don't know if they exist. Some of you guys said Gilmore. I don't know. He's on the injury report, by the way, guys. So I don't know if that's a possibility or not. I know he did put his home on the market, so it's one thing to kind of think about. But man, I know pass rushers don't just grow on trees, but you passed on a couple of. You could have brought Griffin in for real cheap. He can't be any worse than what we got, right? We can't even dress 4 guys, for crying out loud. We can't even dress 4 pass rushers. So frustrating. But then the other end, you could have brought Carlos Dunlap, and some of you guys will say, well, he doesn't fit the system. Well, my question to you guys is then, if he doesn't fit the system, then these guys we got playing right now, do they fit the system? Is that what we're doing here? Because they're surely not doing anything. So that would be my only argument. And you're way overplaying Landry right now. The one thing we heard about all offseason, we're going to limit Landry snaps. We're going to limit. And now you're only dressing 3 defensive pass rushers. So very concerned with that. So let's get to some of your comments. Yeah, if you can, definitely tighten up that like button. If you haven't subscribed yet, definitely love to have you here on Titan Upload. And like I mentioned earlier, love to have you in the Flick Chat as it's going on the bottom there. So just to talk Titans with you guys, it's always a lot of fun. People in there probably talking right now about this game coming up on Sunday. So look back on it for sure. Do I miss Marcus Mariota being on the team? Yes. Okay, I will. I really liked him. Great character guy. Ideally, it would have been really cool if we were able to bring him back for a backup. But again, I understand he's getting pretty good money to play for the Raiders, but he just cannot get on the field. Tony Johnson, 1 game at a time. I know, man. I can't get ahead of myself, but it's like this is I'm more of a as the seasons progress, I'm more worried about the longevity of us and where we're going as a franchise, where we're going as a team. Like, I shouldn't focus on that, and I'm a fan. So I guess if anybody can do it, it's us. But yeah, 1 game at a time. This is just 1 game. We do not want to slip up, and we want to get after them from the start. This would be a nice game that we could cruise control, ideally, get some guys some rest, bring in the backup quarterback. That would be lovely if we could get out in front of Cincinnati. But man, when me and my wife went years ago in Cincinnati, I think we lost like 20. We got destroyed. It was rainy. It was like 40 degrees. That just brings back a lot of bad memories when we played. I think we scored like 3 points. It was a cool atmosphere, though. Paul Brown Stadium's a lot of fun, but man, it's not fun to lose, and it's definitely not fun when it's so cold out. So hopefully Clowney can get some sacks. I think it's time that we can progress and move forward with that for sure. Metal Madness, was Clowney still out today? No, he was actually back. So he's not even on the injury report, I don't believe, so we should be good with Clowney. Let's see. Jenner says I miss Mariota too. Joe says I miss Mariota, but business is business. That's the question, right? Like they always say, it's a business decision to tackle Derrick Henry. So Joe says the Colts always scare me. Those Colts games are going to be tough now. You know, I don't care what people say. The Colts are only one game back. So for how great we started, undefeated 5-0, we're only one game ahead of the Colts. Now, the Bears tick me off because the Bears are 5-2 now, but they were 5-1, and they laid a stinker against the Colts. Like, they couldn't do anything right in that game. So that was disappointing because it was at Chicago. I know there's no fans and stuff, but that would have been a nice game for the Titans to get a little bit more of an advance. And let's not. I mean, Cincinnati went into Indianapolis and went up 21-0. So you were kind of hoping that maybe they would get one. Now, I don't trust Rivers. I don't think he's all that. Their running game it's okay. They really do miss Mack. A lot of people didn't realize that at the time. They thought for sure Taylor would take over for Mack and that would be the end of it. They really do miss the versatility of Mack. And it's a really cool story with Mack that kind of hanging out with the team, trying to help people out. So I thought that was pretty cool of a story. But you're right. It's just going to be a tough situation, especially when they get full strength on defense too. I mean, they have some injury issues as well. Taco Tuesday, you were making such a big deal about Clowney. What has he done? Well, let's go back and backtrack. So there are a lot of people. Jared Stillman's one of them. A lot of people on Twitter now. They were all for Clowney, and then now he's not doing well, so they're kind of off. And it's just the way it goes sometimes. But here's the thing I just like to point at you, Taco Tuesday, and thanks for the comment. And, you know, if you don't see my point, then that's fine. But the thing with Clowney is, yeah, you're paying him a lot of money. You're paying Beasley a lot of money. You're not getting much production. But the one thing Clowney can give you and what he's given you so far is he has put more hurries together, pressures, they call them. And he's pretty up there. I think he's like our number one guy with pressures. If you didn't sign him, you would be watching Wyatt Ray right now. Roberson, they just don't even trust him, or he's not healthy enough to even be on the field. I just don't know. You could argue that maybe you would have went out and got somebody else, but at this point, you just have to go with what we know. And what we know is they weren't going to bring anybody else in. Correa would still been on the team, and I get it. Correa, slow start. Maybe this whole like sickness thing really did impact his slow start. So I definitely get that. But you know, last year we needed to make a difference. I'm willing to take a risk. And I still think Clowney's giving you, he's trying to pick up with game speed. But I get it. Some of you are going to kind of steer away from Clowney at this point. But I'm just saying, like, it would be nice if we could get another pass rusher. But it would be nice that we could dress 4 pass rushers. Because Clowney is not a guy where he's going to play 90% of the snaps and be fully effective. Like, ideally, he wasn't doing that before. You got to rotate these guys in. Even the New York Giants, when they were really, really good with the defensive line, the team that beat like the 19-0 or 18-0 Patriots, they had multiple guys they were sending. They had multiple pass rushers. They had multiple linemen. We don't have any of that. Like, if Simmons and Jones aren't in there, you're not getting much production from any of these other guys. And pass rusher, definitely not getting a lot of production. And then by the time the second half starts, Landry's gassed. Beasley's trying to do way too much. I mean, Beasley's not even in playing shape, you guys. And then Clowney, I mean, we're lucky that he didn't get hurt. But I get your point. It's just, if we didn't have Clowney, I think we'd be in a real big mess. I mean, it's bad. Okay, I don't want to sugarcoat it. It's bad. I mean, we rank dead last in pass as far as third down percentage. We were giving up a lot of yards to the pass. We're like dead last in sacks almost. It's a struggle. Now we are getting the turnovers, but can you count on getting turnovers like this all season long? Eventually, you think your luck's going to run out. I mean, these are really good turnovers, by the way. I mean, you're tapped balls, batted one. I mean, guys making plays. It's not just like quarterbacks making terrible decisions. It's not like people just dropping the ball, but still, you would think that teams down the line here, especially getting used to playing with one another, teams are going to be a little bit more protective of the ball. And that's something the Titans are going to have to find a way. They're going to have to find a way to do something. All right, so let's get to some more of this stuff going on here. So we talked about the defense. Let's talk about the offense. You know, the offenses are, that's what we do. It's what the Titans do for whatever reason. The Titans offense has been amazing. So, again, more stats at you. Try to guess what that percentage is on the right. Definitely try to guess that. Thank you for the thumbs down. I appreciate it. Tighten up to you as well. But offensive report. So if we're looking at to the right, you got the percentages. Try to guess what that is. Okay. But here we go. So 4th for offensive points per game. That's pretty good. I mean, we were a little bit better last week, but we only put up 24 points with the Steelers, so it came down a little bit. But I think we're holding our own. Again, where we're getting our bread and butter, the point or the turnover difference and turnover margin, +9, first place. Red zone touchdowns percentage, 80%, second place. I think only behind Seattle. Titans are getting it done 80% of the time. If you look down the line, though, at the Bengals are 28th. You know, the Bengals don't – Joe Burrow has thrown for – out of his 7 games, I think he's thrown for 300 yards. Is it 4 times? Or maybe it's 3 times. I think it's 4 times. But if you look at the stats, Joe Mixon's out. You got 3 linemen out. The receivers are good. I would say the receivers and Burrow are their best part of their team. Boyd has an exceptional year. Glad I picked him up in fantasy. T. Higgins has been playing out of his mind. John Ross, he's disgruntled. He don't want to play. And A.J. Green. I mean, I'm sure this is a game that maybe you can argue A.J. Green will probably go off, but he hasn't been that effective either. So that percentage on the right, what do we got? Field goal percentage. Thank you. Field goal percentage. So R3KT3E is definitely right. Here's the deal. If you break it down, and I this is just amazing. I got to go find it because I don't want to cheat you. I want to make sure. So I wrote this down. I thought it was very interesting. So when we look at the kicking percentage, okay, we're dead last. We're 32nd. At 89.4, what percent or what rank are the Bengals? You know what I mean? I mean, there's a big gap there, but this is my point. The Bengals are 14th in the league with field goal percentage. 14th. Guys, they're at 89. They're almost at 90%. The Titans are 62%, and we're dead last. I mean, even if we improve to 72%, we're probably still in the upper 20s, lower, maybe even the mid-20s. So, yes. Gostkowski, great. He made some great field goals, won some games. We wouldn't have beat some teams without him. But you have to start asking the question, when's enough? And the only argument I hear, the only argument that I ever get is, who else is out there? Well, here's the deal. There's a lot of no-namers. Go through the list. Go find the Dolphins kicker. Go find some of these guys who haven't missed a kick. Odds are you probably have no idea who they are. That's my point. We like to bring in guys who've kicked before, but even the guys we've kicked before. Carlos Santos is doing a really good job in Chicago. We get to see him here next week. Parkey, I think, is in Cleveland. He's doing an okay job. You got Ryan Suckup, who we could wait to see leave. I mean, he was a great guy, don't get me wrong, but he was hurt. And he kept coming back last year. They kept pushing him, and he couldn't kick a field goal to save his life last year. But now he got it back, and he's doing pretty well. And they even have Greg Joseph as a practice squad kicker. So there are a lot of kickers out there that are doing their job. We're in a rut right now, and I don't think it changes. I don't. I mean, if he could go out there this week, goes 1 for 2, he's not losing his job. I think it's going to take something very interesting for him to lose his job, and I hope he doesn't lose his job. I hope he keeps doing really well, but that is something to think about. It's just that, oh my gosh, that is just so embarrassing to look at the 62% and see it on there, and I'm like, oh my gosh, what a train wreck that is. So let's move on. So there's the offense, defense, getting into some of these ranks, the overall ranks. Boom, there you go. Got a little Halloween font for you guys here. But by the numbers, the Titans offense is 5th in the league and 25th in defense. The Bengals, 24th on defense and 26th on offense. If we were playing Madden right now and you gave me the Titans and you took the Bengals, I feel very confident I would win. if our playing level was equal, because the Titans offense should make the difference in this game. I think we're going to see Derrick Henry have a really good game. I think Ryan Tannehill, I think the offense also going to play pretty well. I just don't want to see us go out there throwing it all over the yard. I want to run our offense. We try to run the ball. Ryan Tannehill play action pass, get the tight ends involved. I think this is a game where you're not going to fear the Bengals pass rush like we did with the Steelers. So you're not going to have to keep Jonnu Smith at home. You're not going to have to chip with the running backs all the time. So look for the Titans to be a little bit more versatile this week. Open up the offense, but I just don't want to just take shots down the field consistently. I want to play within what we do. If Raymond's open deep down the field, go for it like you did at Minnesota, but don't make the throw like you did against Houston, where you just chucked it deep to chuck it deep and then somebody's there. But Vrabel, I don't know if Henry's going for 200 yards, but this is one of those games where you hope Henry gets 18 carries, under 20 carries, still very effective, still goes over 100 yards, and the Titans can grind some clock, win the game 31-6 or something like that. That's the hope. And you get these guys a little bit of rest, because if you think about it, that hectic schedule coming up that I mentioned earlier, Chicago, Indy twice, Baltimore in between the Indy, that's going to be a tough test for the Titans. And we got no bye week anymore, so it's going to be a consistent grind on the way out here. So if you're the Titans, you got one loss, you just do what you can do, but wouldn't a playoff bye week be nice? There's only going to be one team that gets it, so that's going to be challenging, especially when Pittsburgh's undefeated. They do play the Ravens this week, so that should be a really good battle. Just found you 2-3 weeks ago. I love your Hey, Isaiah Walls, thanks, man. Put you up on the screen here. Thanks for stopping by, and again, we just love to talk Titans, and we try to make it a professional thing. We try to make it look professional, like maybe you're watching ESPN, but the thing is we're trying to do here is we want everybody to be active and involved. That's why you guys, your comments are always fire, and it's always a lot of fun. So let's keep this going. Markeel says, man, I'm still salty about the Steelers game. I am too. That Steeler game was tough because we bounced back, and to lose by a field goal definitely was a big issue by that. Wade Wells, why is Derrick Henry trying to catch the ball more? Why is he trying to catch the ball more? Or why they throwing him the dump downs? Well, we could get into that here in a minute with what Bates says, but we'll save it for just a little bit. Kitchen Bounces, I think every snap I've seen from Joe Burrow, he ends up on the ground. I feel bad for the dude. Well, we've had some guys like Zach Mettenberger was kind of the same way, right? He didn't stand a chance with his offensive line. They are always destroying him. And then Wisenhunt was not a very good coach. So we know we've been there before, but Burrows, he's a tough guy, and he's still putting up some good stats. Like I said, he threw for 400 yards once. He's thrown for 300 yards a couple times. He's doing what he can do, and those offensive receivers are doing pretty well. Their receivers are pretty good. So we're going to have our work cut out for us this week for sure, but you would feel like if we can't get through this offensive line, we're in some big trouble down the line when we face some pretty good offensive line, especially the one we would face in a couple weeks in the Colts. Their offensive line is pretty good too as they're getting healthier. Who else we got here? Vrabel said 200 to 300 yards. We have another king in the house. Titans going to trade for a kicker and a cornerback. I don't know if we'll trade for a kicker, but we definitely might trade for somebody. We're hoping. Anyways, let's see. We've got Mr. Titan in the house. What's going on, man? Thanks for joining us. I don't know. You got to work tomorrow, man. Busy week, right? Busy week. But yeah, a lot of fun, man. If you guys haven't followed Mr. Titan yet, definitely go follow him. He's always up to some good stuff, as long as we can keep him off the toilet, right, Mr. Titan? As long as we can keep him off the toilet. You got to watch his video. You'll know what I mean. The Steelers preview. So, Brody, what's going on? Just subscribe. Hey, thanks, man. We're pushing strong towards 3,000 or 4,000. Oh my goodness, I'm losing track. But no, we're pushing strong. We're trying to keep going here. But thank you so much for giving up your time being here. Appreciate it, dude. Seriously, Brody, thank you. So let's get a little bit more into this as we're about ready. We got about 15 minutes left. You guys brought it up. Let's talk about it. A Dory Jackson update. So this is what we know. Dory Jackson was fine. He was progressing. I didn't know if he'd play this week. I know a lot of you were hopeful last week when we were the same time. You guys kept telling me, hey, he might play. And you guys were right. I didn't know that at the time. They were going to see how it was going to go, and then the next day came out, and he was not going to go. So that's fine. So he returned to practice Wednesday, Thursday. Everything's fine. Today he didn't show up. So it's like, what are we doing here? Did he not show up because we had a setback? Or did he not show up because it's a typical Vrabel maintenance day? I wish I had the answer. I think we're trying to find the answer, and we don't know. So I think this pretty much would assume he's not playing this week, right? If he was playing this week, you wouldn't have given him the day off today. And if he had a setback, you're definitely not playing him this week, and you're probably not playing him next week either. So I think Monday, I know a big election day is coming up on Tuesday, but look for Tuesday, Wednesday to see if they reactivate him. If they don't, I believe they have one more week to reactivate him off the IR. I mean, he's been reactivated somewhat, right? But he's not officially on the roster yet. He just came off IR. I guess if they call it what, destination of off IR to return or something like that. So I don't really know how to feel about this. It is concerning though. I mean, we haven't seen a Dory Jackson all season, and then like his knee just went. We know it's his knee. Did he tear a meniscus? I mean, is it something like that? Definitely not an ACL. He would have been out for the season, but it happened during training camp. So the Titans didn't need to really get out in front of it and let you know everything, let us know everything. So hopefully everything works out. But, you got the Bears coming up. I mean, that would be a good time to bring him back, I think, next week if he can go. And if he can't go, then are you bringing him back for a short week against the Colts? We really could use him, by the way. I think he's going to be a game changer for us. The speed, he was playing really good at the end of the season. Now, if there is one positive, maybe this drives his price down a little bit because we didn't pick up Corey Davis' fifth-year option. We did pick up Adoree Jackson's. So we know we got him for next year. Does John Robinson go out and try to get a deal done at the end of this season? That would be something to keep an eye on. All right. Corey, I love your previews games, man. You deserve a lot more subs than you. Hey, thanks. They'll come with time, right? I mean, that's what we always think. But it's like I haven't even checked yet. I don't know how many of you guys are in here. And I didn't even promote this to promote it. I mean, I just put it up there because at this point in time, I really had a setback yesterday with the preview. So as I was starting to get the preview going, some programs that I use weren't working. So I was very limited in what I could do. What's up, Titans legend, man? Hey, I feel bad I haven't really commented a lot on your guys' comments. That's something I'm going to be doing tonight, getting back to all the comments that you guys leave me, because that's something I pride myself on. Is when you guys leave me a comment to get back to you with some thought. Don't just do cookie cutter stuff and say the same thing over and over. So did want to let you guys know I do appreciate all the comments when I post videos, and keep them coming. I love to talk Titans with you for sure. Josh Redhouse in the house. Big King Henry. Day on. I hope so, man. If you guys been following the burger stuff, I guess Henry loves Wendy's. We're trying to get him a ploy on Wendy's, get him his own little meal like the Travis Scott meal at McDonald's or something like that. I think that'd be cool. We know Will Compton won't be going to get one, though. He's not a fan. He's definitely not a fan. Super chat from TTR says vanilla defense almost. Hold on. Okay. Zero disguise blitz. D starts over gap. Broadcast how the O-line should slide. No blitz. Zone blitz. Defensive coordinator who doesn't have to be head coach. Hey, thank you so much for the super chat. So whose defense are we talking about? Are we talking about the Titans defense? Like, are you kind of saying that, or are you talking about the Bengals? Definitely let me know. I'm assuming you're talking Titans, right? How do you guys feel about the defensive coordinator? I don't like Vrabel as a defensive coordinator because I think he's such a great head coach. You're taking things away from him coach wise, but again, it's just one of those things. It's not going to change now. I mean, you're not bringing anybody in now unless Dean Pease comes off the street, which we would take him in a heartbeat. I think you still miss Kerry Coombs, though, the secondary coach. I think the linebackers coach moved on as well. The team's starting to struggle a little bit, and maybe coaching's a concern. We've brought this up many times. Is it the coach? Is it the players? But when you look at who's in the secondary for the Titans, I've been on Byard a little bit, but it's kind of unfair because I think Byard is expected to do more now. I think Ficcaro's expected to do more. I think Evans is expected to do more, and that's hurting his play. So I just want to get fully healthy. A lot of us are saying Adoree Jackson, he's going to be he's going to save this team. I hope so, because if he don't, like I said, there's nobody walking through that door after November 3rd. That's when the trade deadline's over, I think 3 p.m. Eastern time. So if you're going to bring anybody in, it's got to be pretty quick. So TTR, thanks again for the super chat. The King Nat says it's the slowest healing player ever. Well, hey, hopefully they get it right. Thanks, Brody. Much respect, man. Right back at you, dude. Zach says, what mysteries lie behind Adoree? What are they hiding from us? I don't know. Oh, man. But you would think, right, Zach, if they knew something was going on, why wouldn't they go out and try to make a trade at this point? Like, you know what I mean? If you knew Adoree Jackson, because Fulton at this time, I'm not trying to be mean, but his rookie season has not went as planned. He needs to be on the field. If you didn't draft Chris Jackson in the 7th round, I mean, they really like Chris Jackson, the guy they got out of Marshall. But I don't think they ever anticipated him playing as much as he's playing. And this started from week 1. But there's a real big difference between him and Logan Ryan. So, for example, if you go back and watch some tape when Chris Jackson blitzes the quarterback, he's missed a few times. But when you look at Logan Ryan, he's obviously he's a veteran. He can get it done. That's why I loved Logan Ryan coming off the edge sometimes. And that's why Logan Ryan was 4.5 sacks last year. I mean, we don't have a guy on this team over 2 sacks. Simmons is our number 1 sack guy. So we have a lot of work to do in that department. Bringing guys off the edge is fine, but if you're going to bring Chris Jackson off the edge, you're really thin. I think we brought Hooker off the edge one time. Hooker's been playing pretty well. I'm very impressed with him. And now you're taking out Dane Cruikshan again. I mean, he can't seem to get on the field either. That's going to hurt you on the special teams. I don't know. I think this is going to be very telling the next week. I know a lot of us are getting really ready for the whole election thing coming up, and that's going to take some time, I think, to decide who's going to win that with all the 80 million or whatever ballots that have already been in. But when you look at the football situation in Nashville, we have to figure out what's going on with Adoree Jackson. So hopefully it's a maintenance day, and it's one of those things where, like, he's been progressing, give him a day off, and then next week's his week to go. But I just don't see any way he's playing this week. I just don't. All right. Titans Legend thinks we're not going 13-3, or we are. We're going 14-2, man, he says. Nice. I hope so. Jenner says 15-1. Oh, no, man. I'm sorry to hear that, Brody. I'm definitely sorry to hear that. We had almost 7,000 cases today in Illinois. So, man, it's not going away right now for sure. So I think the vaccines are our best hope here. Let's see. Jenner says, take care. Oh, Mr. Cook, pray that you recover fast. Yep, we are definitely praying for you, man, here at Titan Upload for sure. Titans Legend says, Ravens, Packers, Houston game against Colts will be tough. That Houston game I'm hoping doesn't mean anything because I'm hoping we're resting our starters for that. But, man, you're right. It's going to be tough because a lot of these games aren't going to be at home. I know there's not a lot of fans, but all right. So I saved the best for last as we got 10 minutes to go. So this goes back to Tannehill. Before I get to Tannehill, just got to do business here. Just want to throw this up there. If you haven't, if you're here, I know some of you have said you've subscribed, and I really appreciate it. But if you're just kind of hanging out watching right now, and you haven't taken the Tighten Upload challenge and hit that subscribe button, or tighten up the like button, I mean, here's your chance to get that done. And now we're right back. So there's that. If you are just joining us, I kind of broke this early. Super pumped about it. I got the notification a couple weeks ago in an email. Just happened to glance at my email and boom, There was DraftKings in there asking if, I'd like to kind of partner up with them. And that's what's going to happen. So in November, I'm partnering up with DraftKings. And for me, that's really exciting. I don't know what that really means exactly, but I don't know if that's going to be like a long-term thing or just a month thing. But for me personally, to see the email in there, I mean, you guys spoil me for sure. But, just to see that in there, I was like, wow, that's pretty cool. So you'll be seeing that coming in November. I just want to warn you. So if you're like, what's going on here? Yeah, just know that's coming. So it will be somewhere in the preview video. I think one video a week is what I've been told. So I think I'm going to go with the preview videos. That'd probably be the best one. All right, so let's get into this. Tannehill, no respect. This is where we'll stop the show. So this week, I mean, this is a good thing, though. Because if you were ever concerned about the Titans taking the Bengals lightly, this would have been the week to do it, right? 3 offensive linemen out. Mixon's out now. They're not very good on defense. The Titans are coming off that big loss to the Steelers, so maybe they felt like this is a pickup game. I know the Bears, I'm really not sure how people value the Bears right now. Some people think they're overrated. I think they have a really good defense, but you definitely got the Colts coming up. I know the Titans are getting pumped for that, so maybe the Bears serve as a buffer. But this is gold for us. This is huge because one thing you know about the Titans, when other players run their mouth, not Ryan Clark, right? I don't think they care about media, but they definitely care about what other players say. And there were a lot of players that came out and said some things from Buffalo and the Steelers. Now, we didn't see it work for the Steelers, but we did see it work for Buffalo. And we've seen guys come out, Lawan, Byard, Tannehill even, who've mentioned they've kept track of people talking trash during these times. Well, this is unexpected. Nobody saw this coming. So Jesse Bates plays for the obviously for the Bengals. He's in the secondary. And Corey Curtis broke this, so we'll give props to Corey Curtis. But I want to go ahead and read what he said on Ryan Tannehill. Again, no respect. Okay, no respect. Nobody watches the Titans. They just don't respect them. So here we go. So this is coming from Jesse Bates. So here's what he says. He says, I think Derrick Henry has had a lot of 100-yard games. Okay, well, I think by my track, he's had three this season. And the big win against Buffalo, he had 58 yards. And Ryan Tannehill threw for almost, 350, over 350. So just want to point that out there as I'm kind of reading his message here. So, again, I think Derrick Henry has had a lot of 100-yard games this year. And that kind of helps out Ryan a lot, he says, Bates says. Ryan doesn't really do a lot of things, he says, that are like, wow, pop out on film. I just think he does a really good job getting the ball out and checking down. Well, let's be honest, Titan fans. How many times does Ryan Tannehill check down? He checked down a couple times last week against the Steelers, but I don't remember him checking down very much. Ryan Tannehill is not afraid to bring it. He's not afraid to take a chance down the field. We know that Minnesota game. He took a few shots at Raymond. So that's kind of comical. Does Bates watch film at all? I'm just kind of curious. So he says he's also not making mistakes. So he says when you're running the ball, he said it's hard to make mistakes besides fumbling the football. And then he says they've done a really good job with that. Wow. You get no claps here on Titan Upload, Jesse Bates. And I'm going to go ahead and say it. Who you crapping, man? Who are you crapping? But you know what? This is good for us because a guy that wants to come out and run his mouth about Ryan Tannehill and question his ability on the field. And Ryan played really well this season, all right? I think he's got like 15 touchdowns, 2 interceptions. He's played over 100 passer rating. He's been great. So Bates, again, it doesn't matter. You could say what you want to say. You know what? Your team's 1-5-1. You're just looking to get some headlines out of this, make it more interesting, maybe try to get your team fired up. But I'm telling you, this might be a blessing in disguise for us guys because the Titans go out there. Maybe this kind of we know the team gets motivated like this. This is the stuff. Everybody wants to run their mouth about the Titans. This is a prime example. So we'll see if it comes back to be bigger than what it is. Or is it not that big and we just kind of whatever because maybe we're zoned in because we're 5-1 and we're actually having a good season, right? So who day, who cares? All right, couple questions before we're out of here. We were doing good. 56 minutes. Got through everything covered. I don't think I have anything left that I prepared and I don't have. I have predictions. So if you guys want to drop your predictions on your way out, here's where I'm going. All right. And I'll give you my reasoning for it, but here we go. Boom. I got the Titans winning 27-17. I think it's going to be a little bit more low scoring. I think the Titans kind of get up a little bit early, maybe up 10-3 or something at halftime, maybe go up 10-0, 10-3 halftime. I think the Bengals will score a few touchdowns, obviously. I think Burrow's pretty good. He'll probably have a couple touchdowns. I think the receivers present a lot of challenges for the Titans. But I think deep down, I think Tennessee's going to control the clock in this one. I think we're going to win the time of possession. I do think the turnover machine down in Nashville that we're playing in Cincinnati, I think that will be coming with us. It's weird. We're going to be wearing the navy blue tops with the white bottoms this week. And the Bengals, maybe they're going Halloween, I'm assuming, right? No, they won't be going Halloween. Maybe they're going the all whites this week for Halloween. It is interesting. We are playing the Bengals on Halloween or the day after Halloween. So who knows what happens with that. But I like the Titans' chances. I think this is going to be a nice game for the Titans. I wouldn't get too excited about the win. Like, it's a win. We're 6-1. But please don't fall in the trap of, oh my goodness, our pass rush it's all of a sudden fixed. Our third down defense is all of a sudden fixed. We're looking for improvements, don't get me wrong, but when your whole offensive line is pretty much out, and even some of the backups are out, you have to get to the quarterback. Even if you don't get a bunch of sacks, you got to put pressure on Burrow, and you got to make him make mistakes, right? You got to. So batted balls or, knockdowns or, no stupid penalties, no stupid mistakes. We made a lot of mistakes last week. Like Cruikshan gets an interception in the half and then throws it back as a lateral his own 10-yard line. You don't do that at halftime. And then we've seen some very interesting decisions. Raymond coming out just full blast, hits him right here, and boom, he drops the ball on a big kickoff return. So, again, we give up a big kickoff return last week. The Steelers were a really good team. I don't think anybody's going to argue that. The Bengals, they've played close games. So they played the Browns close twice. They've played the Eagles. They tied them. They beat the Jaguars. They played the Colts there, 21-0 Colts. They lost 31-27. The only game the Bengals got blown out with was the game against the Ravens. Now, that game, if you think about it, you go in and look at that game's a little bit different than I think we I think we just think Baltimore just destroyed them, and Baltimore was up 20-0. But Baltimore didn't do what we thought they did. And what I mean by that is Baltimore, Lamar Jackson was 19 of 37, I believe for under 200 yards, 2 touchdowns and 1 interception. They didn't do a lot running the ball. Like their main guy, I think, was trying to think of who had the most yards, but it was like 11 carries for 56 yards. Now, as a team, they racked up a decent amount. I think they racked up, what, was it 100? I wrote it down. I think 124 rushing yards, roughly. Or was it 100? I don't know. Was it 107? 170? Hopefully that's going to defeat my argument. But let's see. Against the Ravens, the Ravens had 7 sacks in that game, so that's a big deal. 161 rushing yards. So the Ravens did run the ball a lot. They just ran it with multiple guys. I guess that's my point. They didn't do it with just 1 or 2 guys. They did multiple fronts. Jackson probably had a big chunk of that as well. But offensively, again, 19 for 37 or whatever it was for under 200 yards and 1 pick. I mean, it wasn't like Jackson had one of those MVP games that he usually has. So, again, I think we'll be okay this week. I'm excited about this game. Like I mentioned, I think it's very important for us to get back on track. We got a very tough schedule coming up. So I can't wait to hear what you guys have to say. And then we are officially on to Cincinnati for this weekend. Post-game show 30 minutes after the game again. Definitely love for you guys to be here, especially some of you that just subscribed. We'll be here breaking it down. And like I said, hopefully we're breaking down a Titans win. So Mr. Titan says, I miss Coombs, Dean Pease, Woodyard, and Logan Ryan. We do. And Casey. Brody, that's a good point too. Casey is definitely someone we're going to miss. Zach agrees. So something we'll move on with. But, he did get hurt, but there's no guarantee if we kept him, he would have got hurt. Love the 8 wall. He's still my favorite quarterback. Can't wait to see Marcus take off again. I think there's still hope for Marcus Mariota. There's no question about that. He's very super talented. I think he's got to fit the right system. You got to have the right offensive coordinator to help him out. But I love Marcus, and if that upsets you guys, it is what it is. I thought him and Malarkey and DeMarco Murray and Delaney Walker, those guys were very important in turning this thing around. And now we're progressing with and give J-Rob credit. He made the tough calls on some of these guys, and it's helped the team out. Manny says, Titan legend, chill out. They won't lose. Let's see what else. Titans legend says, I invested 20 years of my life towards the Titans. I need them to get to a Super Bowl. Yes, me too. I think about that maybe more than I should, right? But, hey, one game at a time for sure. But, yeah, Super Bowl would be great. And I think the Steeler fans last week were getting on us about that. RR says, no, typical Titans. Cook says, Henry, will Josh Norman stiff arm with Jesse? It'd be nice for Tannehill to stiff arm him, right? Jenner says, here we go. So the predictions, Jenner says Titans 34-17. Manny says 42-14. Wow, that used to be an old Titans score with McNair. It's like we always beat the Jaguars or we beat teams 42-14. It was just a common score for the Titans back in the day, Corey says, prime prediction, Titans 35-20. Let's see. The Mike Corbo says 42-20 Titans. Titans legend said at least 35-21. See, Mark's in the house. What's going on, Mark? He says 41-17. Vrabel is so positive we are not going to lose. We shouldn't. We shouldn't lose, right? I'm not going to say that like we need to take these guys lightly, but if you can't go in here and win, Zach says 70-0, that would be nice to have one of those games, right? But if you can't go in and beat these guys, I mean, yes, we have challenges on our secondary, but this team is too good to go in there and let this one slip away. That's how I feel. So, Miss Titan in the house, what's going on? She says 36-13, and the GOAT does say they are going all whites. So this is going to be quite interesting. I actually like the all whites Cincinnati Bengals. Like when I play Madden sometimes and I'm in the Bengals, believe it or not, sometimes I am the Bengals. I kind of got stuck with them in a franchise league once, but the all whites were pretty cool. So, Nate Pretzel, don't worry about it, man. Good to have you. Just thanks for stopping by. Brody can't believe the Seahawks lost. Manny Z said Tannehill's going to stay on a hot streak. Jenner says, I would say it'd start to get better up to the Super Bowl. Say it is a start to get better up. You're right. Definitely. Zach, what's going on? Says, can't wait to see his team play Cincinnati. He's going to be at the game. So I did see his comment on Twitter, I think it was, or maybe it was on YouTube. But every time the boys come up here in Cincinnati, I got some friends. One of my friends went to Xavier. Obviously, that was years ago, but yeah, my other good buddy lives up there as well. So they love Cincinnati. They love Skyline, though. I don't know if you love Skyline, Zach. I'm not a fan, but I'm not really a chili fan either. So there's probably just that. Let's see what else. Josh Redhouse is 30-10. King Isaac, what's going on? I like the logo, King Isaac. Cool, man. Can't wait for the Sunday, says Manny. Jenner says, I don't worry about the Steelers. They just got lucky. We get them. Yeah, I mean, that's a good attitude to have. I mean, we definitely did some things right in that game. We were able to bounce back. Quintez, what's going on? Good to see you, man. Thanks for stopping by. Corey says, what's your favorite Titans player of all time? Eddie George. Not even close. Steve McNair. I should say Steve McNair's close, but Eddie George and Steve McNair are my favorite too. And that's why it was cool when my daughter, I've mentioned this before on the show, my daughter, when she was born on 9/27, September 27th. So you can't do it much better than that, right? 9/27. So we got the old McNair jersey out, got the old Eddie George jersey out, 9/27. The rest is history. So this year we're expecting a Super Bowl, baby. How about that? So, I mean, things are looking good. We're 5-1. Matt Moon in the house. What's going on? He says 28-21. Jenner says, I agree with you 100%. Let's see. Wade Wells agrees. The GOAT says, this isn't college. This isn't Clemson versus the Citadel. It's a good one. But we still have so much more talent. We should, especially with all the injuries, we should get after them. Hey, happy Halloween. I love the ghost there. Cool. Brody says 35-17. RX Bells says, I'm going to go with the Titans 36-22. Hey, no worries. Thanks for stopping by. Wesley King says, Titans going to make up for all the Vols failures. Oh, no. 50 bomb incoming. Oh, my good. Great comment. I don't know. What happened to the Vols, right? They started off so good, and now it's like the Chicago market, okay? Chicago, if this wants to get you fired up for the Bears game next week, but Chicago Sports Radio was playing your Tennessee Vols post-game show from the Kentucky, and they were, let's just say they were kind of making fun of the old callers calling in. They said that post-game show against Kentucky on in Knoxville lasted 5 or 6 hours of post-game show. I think it's crazy when we go about an hour and a half, but man, 5 hours of post-game radio just on that game. And that was a tough game for the Vols, right? But you know what? Tennessee versus Illinois. Tennessee'd probably beat Illinois. Illinois got beat like, oh my goodness, 45-7 or something like that to Wisconsin, and I'm sure they probably lost tonight versus Purdue. Trey says Derrick Henry over 200. It'd be nice, but I don't think he'll get the carries this week. I just don't see it. I think he'll have a really good game. I think he'll go over 100, but I just think it's very important to kind of worry, and not so much worry, but in this type of game especially, you don't want to give him 30 carries. I mean, you want to get a win for sure, but I would think you keep him roughly under 20, and that would be a solid workload for Derrick Henry, and get some of these other guys involved. I mean, that's what I'm hoping for, but I could be wrong. Who knows? Derrick Henry, he might get 200 yards, have a couple 90-yard runs. Who knows? He doesn't need 20 carries, so anything's possible. Anything's possible. Zach says Keith Bullock's his favorite player. Let's see. And then Quintez says, if we could set the tone early for the rest of the game. And I think that's very important. And we've set the tone in some of these games. Jacksonville, we're up 14-0. Houston, we're up 14-0. We just, for whatever reason, second half, I think it's a lot of the pass rush. I think it's the secondary. I think it's the third down. We just can't get off the field. And then all of a sudden the games become close. So, Jenner, happy Halloween to you guys as well. Appreciate it. Again, I'll be here for halftime for the Cincy game. So if you're bored, stop by here on halftime, and we'll keep talking Titans. Hopefully the mic sounded okay. I can make some adjustments here next time, but it kind of, it's hard to do on the fly. So hopefully that sounds okay to you guys. And again, big game this week, right? Tennessee Titans. I want to put this on the screen one more time for you guys. I don't think I missed any more super chats. So TTR, I think it was, who super chatted real quick here. Just the thanks again. I really, really appreciate it. Let's see. There it is, TTR. And yeah, so I'm good there. And then also, I wanted to put this on there. Again, if you're bored, if you're looking for something to do this weekend, if you download that, that goes directly to my Flick chat. We got about 45 guys in there right now. Well, I shouldn't say just guys. We got some girls in there as well. And we just got Titan fans. It doesn't matter what gender you are. We got a lot of Titan fans in there just talking Titans. So it's a lot of fun. We're getting into some really good conversations. We already mentioned Michael a couple weeks ago. He mentioned that Derrick Henry was going to get a 90-yard run, and boom, and then it happened. So that was a really cool moment during there. But, it's just sometimes we give some poll questions, some predictions, just more notifications, stuff like that. So the more we can build up that community, the more I think I can definitely do with it to keep you guys in the loop. And just to keep us all connected. And what the goal eventually is to pick some people out of there to bring on the show. And I've done it for the past 2 weeks. Michael came on a couple weeks ago. Big O Titan came on last week. So another shout out to those guys. And I would love to have people that I can trust come on the station, talk Titans with us. And, it's a lot of fun to see your comments for sure. But, being family friendly, we want to take every precaution necessary. But it would be cool. That's kind of the goal. That's kind of where we're going with this. So, I don't know. If that interests you, awesome. If it doesn't, no worries. Just thanks for subscribing. Thanks for watching. Thanks for being here. So again, I got the Titans winning 27-17. If you're watching this video later, definitely leave a comment below. And look out for me. I'll be in the next hour or two getting back to your comments that you guys have been leaving on these preview shows. So again, tighten up. Thanks again for being here. Let's get a win. Let's hope that some things work out for us. And we'll leave it with Titans legend. Tighten up, everyone. Let's get the dub for sure. Take care, guys. We'll see you soon. Tighten up.